Sabrina and Breanna Stewart, actually talking about the loss, what happened, things like that. People are loving what Sabrina said about Caitlin Clark and just showing love.
I'm so happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
The reigning champs, the New York Liberty, just got steamrolled by Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, and what followed was pure gold for basketball fans. Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart marched up to the postgame mic after a 14-point loss, looking like they'd just lived through a Caitlin Clark highlight reel, because they had. But instead of dodging questions or blaming refs, they did something that stunned everyone watching. Their brutally honest take on Clark's dominance shut down any lingering debate about who's really setting the standard in this league. Let us know down below. Were they genuinely respectful, or just gracefully swallowing the L after a straight-up schooling? Did the Liberty show class? Let's go.
The word undeniable exists for a reason, and it applies to Caitlin Clark.
She steps into that court, and in the first quarter, she made 3 threes in 38 seconds.
She is just absolutely undeniable.
Caitlin Clark was just different.
Caitlin Clark is the system.
Caitlin Clark is
generational talent we've needed.
She is the system.
She's 4th in the league in MVP voting.
Caitlin Clark is an absolute all-star. She is the Michael Jordan of this. This is the girl that girls have been waiting for forever.
Let's rewind and set the scene. The New York Liberty came in flashing their championship rings, still undefeated and riding high. On paper, this was supposed to be a routine win against an Indiana squad that had just survived 5 games without its superstar. The Fever were expected to compete, not dismantle. But the moment Caitlin Clark returned to the floor, it was game over. She dropped 32 points, handed out 7 assists, and put together a personal mixtape of jaw-dropping moments that probably deserves its own ESPN 30 for 30.
And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark to fire away from 2 players with incredible up. Ball from Cunningham. Clark, another long 3. She's back!
But the real twist came after the final buzzer. Instead of brushing it off or hiding behind cliches, Sabrina and Stewie gave Caitlin the flowers she absolutely earned. They didn't flinch. They didn't deflect. They acknowledged reality.
Like we go on runs, they do as well. They're a great team. So I don't think it's defeating. I think obviously we know what a great shooter she is, and I think we just gave her too many easy ones. Obviously, she has great range, and her ability to get her shot off is really impressive, especially with missing some games. And so obviously on a personal level, I'm really happy to see her back out on the court, healthy, feeling good, because obviously it's important for them.
When asked how Clark looked after her injury break, Sabrina didn't hold back. She praised Caitlin's range, her poise under pressure, and her ability to get clean looks against tight coverage. That's not fake humility or media training. That's one elite shooter giving props to another. And it didn't stop there. Sabrina went full human, even saying she was happy to see Clark back healthy, not just for Indiana, but for Caitlin herself. That kind of comment? That's not what you say about someone you view as a media darling. That's what you say about a legit peer?
As Caitlin Clark put on a show that only she can in leading the team to a win over the New York Liberty, she hit the logo bombs, 3 of them in 38 seconds. Caitlin was able to hit down the court, just gorgeous. I mean, come on.
What hit hardest, though, was Sabrina's admission that they gave Caitlin way too many open looks. Let that sink in. This is Sabrina Ionescu, a walking 3-point clinic, admitting that Caitlin's range is a problem even when you think you've closed the gap. When someone with Sabrina's resume tells you Clark's jumper is automatic with even a sliver of daylight, you believe her. Because she knows exactly what it takes to hit from the parking lot.
Caitlin Clark is the best basketball player in the world. She's the best basketball player that I have ever seen. She is the difference maker. She is the needle mover. She is the face of basketball right now.
Let's see what some people are saying right here. I am 100% Fever, but first team I have watched with class this year. Other than my Fever, great game, ladies. I love the sportsmanship. May you have a great season.
Now, Breanna Stewart? She played it cool, but she didn't sugarcoat anything either. This is a 2-time MVP, a champion, someone who could have easily redirected blame or nitpicked officiating. But she didn't. Instead, Stewie acknowledged what everyone saw. They were outplayed. And not by luck, not by fluke, by a team with a better plan, better execution, and one very dangerous weapon.
Individually, I think just making better reads off the switches. They made it really difficult because they were just like, there was just constantly somebody there and trying to find an opening to get downhill or to find somebody else. And then collectively, like our defense, I think we should take pride in that a little bit more. And they had like 53 at half and finished with 102. So it doesn't really seem like we were guarding much.
Breanna Stewart was giving her a lot of space. She shoots it from the logo, she drills it, and right afterwards, I think all Breanna Stewart could do is kind of laugh about it. I actually loved that moment.
If you watched the game, you caught the moment. Clark hits a logo 3 in Stewart's face. And what does Stewie do? She smiles. That's not defeat. That's recognition. That's what greatness respecting greatness looks like. She didn't pout. She didn't roll her eyes. She grinned because she knew she just witnessed something special, even if it came at her own expense. Those defensive breakdowns Stewart talked about, they weren't just lapses. They were the result of Clark's magnetic force on the court. When one player can pull up from 35 feet and make it look like a layup, your defensive scheme falls apart before it even sets up. The Liberty got pulled in all directions trying to stop Caitlin, and in the chaos, Indiana's shooters ate them alive.
I mean, it's not defeating. Basketball's a game of runs, in the same way like we go on runs, they do as well. They're a great team. So I don't think it's defeating. I think obviously we know what a great shooter she is, and I think we just gave her too many easy ones.
And what made this post-game moment stand out even more? The total lack of ego. We've seen the media trying to stir up fake beef between Clark and the WNBA veterans. But instead of feeding that machine, Ionescu and Stewart did the opposite. They shut down the noise, they told the truth, and the numbers back them up. The Fever shot lights out from deep, and it wasn't because the basketball gods were feeling generous. It was because Clark drew so much attention that her teammates were getting practice-level shots. Stewart also admitted something telling, that they overexerted their starters trying to keep up with Indiana's offense. And that's not just a coaching issue. That's psychological warfare. That's the Clark effect. She shifts the tempo, pulls the defense out of shape, and forces teams to abandon their rhythm just to stay in the race. That's what stars do. That's what leaders do. That's what MVPs in the making do.
Yeah, look, obviously, we had to rely on these two players here, and we didn't get to the rim. Early in the game we did. I think we had about 32 points in the paint in the first half, and we didn't get as many open ones as we did in the second half, and that's on the coaching staff. We've got to make it a little bit easier for them in that regard, but. They're switching. They were very disrupted. They were very physical, and we've got to be a better job at executing that.
Even Liberty coach Sandy Brondello didn't make excuses. No griping about injuries, no jabs at officiating, just a clear acknowledgement that the Fever played better. When coaches at that level tip their hats without hesitation, the game wasn't just a win. It was a statement.
The Indiana Fever before Caitlin and the Indiana Fever after Caitlin, she is like 1,000% the difference maker.
Statistically, it was a massacre. Indiana poured in 102 points, including 53 in the first half alone. A team that looked lost without Caitlin suddenly looked like the Warriors reincarnated with her. And those 17 made threes? That wasn't luck. That was gravity. Clark's presence turned everyone around her into more dangerous versions of themselves.
She is the only player in the league so far averaging 20 points per game, 5 rebounds per game or more, 5 assists or more per game. Caitlin Clark is back in action.
This team won a massive game.
The Indiana Fever have come out and dominated.
Sabrina wrapped it all up by calling basketball a game of runs. But it was clear this wasn't just a run. It was a dismantling. Indiana didn't catch fire for a quarter. They executed from tip to buzzer. And that, more than anything, was what Sabrina and Stewart recognized: sustained brilliance. So here's the truth. Caitlin Clark isn't just making headlines. She's rewriting narratives. She's elevating teammates, disarming egos, and earning respect in the toughest way possible, by beating the very best and getting them to admit it.
And so we got back into the game. We had that run when Stewie was guarding Caitlin Clark, but then they executed well. And we had so many breakdowns on defense, and they made shots. They really punished us on that end, making 17 threes from 35. It was just too wide open. So a little lack of communication. We had to obviously work these two, probably overworked them tonight. But, a lot of things that we can learn. And we, like I said before the game, we're nowhere near where we need to.
Breanna Stewart's post-game reflections hit different. You could tell this wasn't just another tough loss media presser. The words were thoughtful, the tone was heavy, and the message was clear. This one stung. The Liberty pride themselves on being the league's gold standard, the dynasty in the making, the measuring stick. So when Stewart admitted they were rattled by Caitlin Clark's pace and poise, you knew it wasn't just a bad night. It was a full-on reality check. When defending champs are publicly questioning their identity after facing a team that most people had written off 5 games ago, that tells you everything about the shockwave Clark just sent through the league.
Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu talked to the media alongside their head coach.
She has great range and her ability to get her shot off. I'm really happy to see her back out on the court. I'm happy she's back.
Caitlin Clark is a superstar globally.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP. She is the main draw.
The numbers don't lie, and in transition, they were brutal. The Fever generated 19 fast break chances, nearly triple what they'd been averaging. Why? Because Caitlin Clark doesn't walk the ball up like it's 1999. She grabs a rebound or a loose ball and instantly turns it into a track meet. Stewart mentioned how hard it was to get into their half-court sets when they couldn't get stops. And that's not just a coaching issue. That's Caitlin dictating terms. Ionescu admitted the same thing. When the Liberty couldn't get into their transition offense, their entire rhythm collapsed. And that's the genius of Clark. She didn't just score. She didn't just assist. She took New York's carefully crafted system and torched it.
I don't know if you guys have seen or heard, but Caitlin Clark is, in fact, back. Caitlin Clark!
Then steps back with the 3 over Breanna Stewart.
And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the free throw numbers hit like salt in the wound. The Liberty actually got more whistles, more trips to the line, and still couldn't convert those into any kind of momentum. Stewart even called out their lack of rim attacks. And why weren't they getting to the cup? Because Caitlin Clark was spacing the floor like a sniper in a sniper's nest. You step off her, she pulls. You crowd her, she drives. That gravity shut down New York's ability to penetrate, because any defensive breakdown meant the Fever's offense would get another open look. The Liberty tried it all, switching, zoning, denying her the rock entirely. Nothing worked. When coaches with championship rings run out of answers, you're dealing with more than a great player. You're dealing with a force of nature.
Caitlin Clark is the 4th fastest player in WNBA history to hit 850 points. Logo, long-ass 3. Caitlin's going to hit us with a Jordan right there with the tongue out.
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlin Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
And Stewart's deeper comments about knowing who we are cut to the core. That wasn't just a throwaway line. That was an existential basketball crisis. They walked into that arena as the top dog. They left wondering if they were still the alpha when Caitlin's in the mix. That's what great players do. They make even the best question themselves. But the significance here goes beyond just stats and standings. Both Stewart and Ionescu have international resumes. They've faced the best from every corner of the planet. So when they say someone's special, it means something. Sabrina zeroed in on Clark's release, how fast she gets her shot off under pressure, with hands in her face, in the biggest moments. That's not hype. That's next-level skill. Great shooters make shots. Great scorers create them in chaos. Clark? She does both, like she's scripting the game in real time.
New York Liberty was picked to be the #1 team in the W, which they are right now. But I'm telling you, they really lost to the Indiana Fever twice. The Indiana Fever will be 2-0 against the New York Liberty.
When Caitlin Clark goes with the Valkyries, it's going to be crazy. When she goes to Golden State, that game's going to be crazy. You've seen what it is with the Valkyries.
And let's not overlook the defensive chaos she causes. Stewart talked about communication breakdowns. And again, this wasn't just players getting lazy or confused. This was Clark weaponizing movement and timing to force bad decisions. Her gravity breaks rotations before they even start. Championship teams look ordinary when one player stretches the court that wide and makes defenders guess wrong over and over again. Then there's the tempo shift. The Liberty usually control the pace. They slow things down, manage flow, play chess. But Clark made them play ping pong. That up-tempo speed broke their composure. Stewart acknowledged as much. New York wasn't playing their game. They were reacting to Indiana's. Clark took the remote and changed the channel. And once she did, the Liberty couldn't find the remote back.
Caitlin pulls left wing, the right wing, 30-plus feet. Logo crosses over, launch it. Oh my goodness! She is back!
Back in the lineup, I'm ready to go.
I think you're just excited more than anything. It gets kind of difficult when you prepare for a game. Obviously, when I'm on the bench, still knowing the scout, knowing everything that the other team's going to do, and still trying to mentally prepare and go through everything like I'm going to play, even though I knew I wasn't going to play. So, doing that, but also knowing I was going to be able to be active today, I think gives you a little extra juice. So I'm certainly excited just to get back out there, get playing, and really good opportunity for us at home here, coming off of a loss. So it's a big game.
The beauty of Clark's performance was that it wasn't just flashy, it was surgical. Every three-pointer felt earned, every decision felt calculated. Ionescu picked up on that too. It wasn't just the makes, it was the when and why. Caitlin didn't force shots. She waited for moments. That's what makes her lethal. Combine that with what her presence does to her teammates. Suddenly they're cutting harder, moving smarter, hitting open shots they'd been missing without her. And it's clear. She's not just a scorer, she's an ecosystem. Even the Liberty's game plan, as exposed post-game, showed how thoroughly they were outmaneuvered. Indiana wasn't just hot, they were hunting weaknesses and exploiting tendencies the Liberty usually keep hidden. Clark saw those gaps and turned them into highways. Every run New York tried to make, Clark stopped it with a back-breaking three, a laser pass, or a clutch finish. Stewart acknowledged it. The Fever had answers every time, and every answer had Clark's fingerprints on it.
Indiana Fever handled business. 102-88. We finally hit triple digits thanks to CC22.
Caitlin Clark is a rising star in women's basketball. She's pulling in crazy viewership numbers.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
And she's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person and she has like a lot of aura.
Her 7 assists? They weren't just dimes. They were demoralizers. Moments where the defense had finally stopped her, only for her to flip it into an open three. It's one thing to torch a team. It's another to make your whole roster better while doing it. That's what Sabrina acknowledged. It wasn't about one player stuffing the box score. It was about one player rewriting how the Fever played basketball, turning them into a fluid, dangerous, cohesive unit the moment she stepped back onto the court. And that brings us to the bigger picture, the title implications. Because Stewart and Ionescu didn't just lose a game, they lost the narrative. Until that night, the Liberty were the undisputed standard. But now, even they admit the landscape's changed. A fully healthy Fever squad with Clark running the show is not a cute underdog anymore. They're a problem, a legitimate postseason wrecking, seeding shifting threat.
Clark nails it. A 17-0 run. Caitlin Clark now with 7 threes on the afternoon.
I thought Sid was fantastic today. She makes 2 huge threes for us in the second half. Soph was fantastic.
Final score, Fever 102, Liberty 88. And Caitlin Clark's return. Indiana fans elated and amazed. The Fever are the first team to defeat the Liberty in 2025.
And here's the part that matters most. Stewart and Ionescu didn't run from it. They didn't duck questions. They didn't pretend it was an off night or a fluke. They stood there, owned the moment, and gave Clark the respect her performance demanded. That's what real leaders do. And it's also what real competitors do when they know they've just been outplayed by someone who might be the future of the league. Because make no mistake, this wasn't just a game. It was a shift. The Liberty, for all their greatness, got a taste of what the league looks like when Caitlin Clark is in full control. And judging by their reactions, they know exactly what that means. Let us know down below. Were they genuinely respectful, or just gracefully swallowing the L after a straight-up schooling? Did the Liberty show class? Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.